All right, and welcome everyone to session 9 of Star Trek Valhalla, a Star Trek Adventures actual play. And joining me today are 5 of my very good friends, very good friends. And yeah, I mean, that's really where we're at. This is the first part of the intended 2-part finale of season 1. So very exciting. There's going to be some twists, there's going to be some turns. There may even be some stars and some treks, but we will figure that out together. And we're going to go around the table as we often do, Brian, with your slightly raised eyebrow. And we are going to introduce ourselves and hopefully have some fun tonight. So, Brian, Captain, why don't you take it away? We'll go around the table and we'll get started.
Hello, I'm Brian. I am at Mind Over Brian on both Twitter and on Twitch, although on Twitch I spell it with a 0. And I am playing Captain Traso, the Betazoid captain who is forsaken his telepathic powers.
Good man.
Good evening. I'm Sidereal Day, and I am portraying Commander Ajay Shahira, the Bajoran First Officer and Chief Medical Officer.
Hello, I am Symbol. I am the science officer aboard the Ragnar. I play Lieutenant Alden Paris of the Great Paris family.
Hello, I'm Charles. I play Ensign Zed, the Ferengi Chief of Security and Operations Officer.
Hi, I'm Drew. I play Lieutenant Commander Krev, the Tellarite Chief Engineer, and obviously it's my ship.
There it is. There it is. And of course, I am Dear Wolf, the Game Master, the gentleman that throws lots of threat at these fine people and still can't do anything to stop them. They're unstoppable, dare I say. Absolutely unstoppable. But with that being said, today's opening log comes from none other than Ensign Zed. Ensign Zed, take it away.
All right. Personal log, Stardate 5101854.8. Chronos Station. How wondrous and strange it is. I'm told that the station is so large that it even has its own gravitational field. It is no wonder that Captain Traso and Commander Ajay decided that the Ragnar should remain here a bit longer to study this intriguing station that lies hidden away within the Shackleton Expanse. The Numphel who reside here are quite interesting as well. They are a reptilian serpentine species with double sets of eyes, and they appear to have a rich belief system that seems to be based on the singularity that powers their station. The Numphel seem friendly enough, but I still do not fully understand the nuances between their factions, the ones who seem to serve the light and those who serve the darkness. And the fact that they can be very secretive about certain aspects of their culture does not help satisfy my curiosity at all. Ibunia Rilaa, if I'm saying her name correctly, has been quite emphatic about keeping certain subsections of the base off limits to the crew of the Ragnar for religious reasons, she says. Although the Numphel seem friendly enough now, I cannot help but to wonder how their behavior might change should the singularity change again. Furthermore, we have not been able to account for where the swarm ships we encountered have disappeared to. Will they appear again? And if so, how soon? Despite the scientific benefits of studying the station, I feel it is my duty to remind the captain of the possible danger the swarm ships could pose to the Ragnar if they were to suddenly reappear again. Possible dangers aside, I feel that the study of this station will provide the crew with a much-needed change of pace from the last few days. It appears that many of the crew have been greatly unsettled by the marathon of interrogation and questioning they have been subjected to by our recent visitors, Commander Cade and Lieutenant Commander Bouchard of the Department of Temporal Investigations. I myself am somewhat perplexed by this, as both of them seem to be quite friendly to me. Well, perhaps I should just chalk it up to the Ferengi knack for diplomacy and social interaction. I do think, however, that my input to the investigators was key to absolving the Ragnar crew from any wrongdoing or violation of temporal affairs guidelines. Anyway, now that the investigation is over, the crew can concentrate on the Chronos Station again. Ibunia Rilaa has offered to allow any members of the crew who are willing to attend one of their morning dawn ceremonies dedicated to one of their holy figures, Yiva Kol. This is just the sort of thing I dreamed of as a young Ferengi, growing up on the Memory Alpha Library planetoid with my mother. I remember sitting in the domed plaza listening to the researchers talk for hours about newly discovered worlds and fascinating new life forms. But now, look at me. Here I am, helping to explore these new words myself. Professor Mox would be so proud. Computer, end personal log.
As always, Zed. Absolutely fantastic.
Oh.
Love you, man. Love it, man. Well done. You may have 2 momentum for that delightful opening log.
Thank
And as the camera kind of comes up and the whole opening scene that we were watching Zed, as we were listening to Zed give his opening log, we simply saw the Ragnar making a slow kind of orbit around this Chronos Station. And as we watch the Ragnar do this slow orbit around Chronos Station, we see for a moment where it looks like the Ragnar kind of blips in existence, out of existence, in existence, out of existence. Very similar to how it did when the Ragnar was kind of fading into 5 different versions of itself. And as we zoom into the Ragnar, we zoom through deck 1. We see on deck 1, we see the bridge is in complete and utter disrepair. We see rocks have fallen. We see lights, electronics, a couple of what look to be ensigns lying on the ground, their status unknown. We then zoom down a little deeper to deck 2. We then zoom down into deck 3, the officers' quarters. And as we zoom to the port side of the ship, we zoom in on a Lieutenant Paris's quarters. I'm going to give you a quick maneuver over to there. And Lieutenant Paris, you awaken feeling like you have the worst splitting headache of your entire life. You don't exactly recall how you got to your quarters. You remember something about a dawn, or something about a little rosebud of a song. That line seems to play over and over again in your mind, Lieutenant Paris, as though it was being sung, as though it was the climax of an intense song or anthem of some sort. But you are laying in your bed, and the lights are flickering. You can see that the emergency lights are on right now, meaning that the ship's power isn't fully up. It's likely running on emergency power. What do you do, Lieutenant Paris?
Try to first contact Zed to see if they can get if he's awake. If there's a status report. So
You tap
All
your
good.
con badge, and it makes that little chirp, but there is no response.
time to get dressed and see where he is.
As you go to get dressed, you notice that your uniform is already on, but it seems to have been splattered, or it almost looks as though you've rolled through like charcoal. It's got black markings all over it. It's kind of this chalky kind of feeling, and it smells slightly singed.
Hell happened? Yeah, continue to find Zed.
Okay, where do you go?
First to his quarters.
So as you exit out into the hallway, I'm going to have you roll a fitness security, because as soon as you go to open your door, you realize that the door will not budge. It does not slide open. It does not move. It is as though it is either jammed or there's something blocking it on the other side. I know it slides, but it's though maybe something is like jammed into the side of it.
All right. Some fitness security. Difficulty.
Difficulty on this is going to be a 2.
I tried to use maybe something as a pry bar, so I can use my improvisation focus.
Okay. What do you grab? What are you using as a pry bar?
Maybe like I don't know. What would I have in my quarters that can be used as a pry bar? Trying to think of something that would maybe just like the back of a chair.
Okay.
Skippable chair, sure.
I'll allow it.
But I will use a momentum. So I really want to get out.
As you move over to the chair, you have a little table off to the right-hand side. As you move over to grab that chair, you notice that there's a small cracked comm badge on the table. It's almost like it's almost broken into two pieces. You can see a little bit of the circuitry and the wiring inside. You do not recognize it. But that comm badge is dark black.
All right, I pocket it for now.
Okay.
All right, so yeah, try to do that.
It is 3 successes. Leveraging the chair, you manage to kind of start to slide the door, and as you push the chair kind of leg into the doorway, you're able to shove and actually strong arm the door open. There's a sickening, like, grinding sound as the gears of the door and the metal on metal start to grind against each other. And as soon as you open it, you are struck with this very noxious kind of smell. It smells like that kind of musty jungle, or if you've ever been near a swamp, the Louisiana Bayou, as it were. You know, if you're in the hunt worlds, you would smell like old decay, kind of rot, that swampy smell. As you look out onto the little area here, there's kind of this open area where there's a bunch of different crew quarters. You see that the ground itself appears to have been... By the way, roll's not showing on the stream. How about now? Drill. Did I fix it? I must have fixed it. Anyway, neither here nor there. But as you look out, you notice that the ground, the floor, appears to be very damp, and you see these kind of like greenish-looking vines appear to be growing all over, well, everything. They have little leaves on them, little black and red leaves on them.
All right, time for a scan of what the hell is going on here. So I'm guessing control science.
Yeah, absolutely.
Science. Just a quick scan. Focuses. 166.
Difficulty on this was a 2, similar to the last one. And you're scanning, but as you go to scan with your tricorder, if you remember I described the Ragnar as kind of phasing in and out, you go to scan with the tricorder and you see it, but the tricorder is picking up nothing. The tricorder is saying that the entire room that you see before you, just a normal deck of the ship. Nothing strange about it. There's carpet, there's the metal walls, computer systems are running, but what you're seeing is literally a living jungle before you.
Fun. I try to contact the other members of the senior staff. Nothing.
Nothing.
Okay. All right, off to Zed's.
So Zed actually has quarters right to your right, but as you step out into the hallway, off to your left-hand side is the captain's quarters. You notice that one of the captain's doors, the door on the port side of the ship closest to you, you see that the door is open, and you see kind of a flickering of like an overhead light from that room. And as the light flickers, you see a shadow, looks humanoid, move from one side of the room to the other.
Oh, I call out, Captain. Is that you?
No response.
I go to Zed's quarters. Well, keep an eye on Captain's quarters.
As you pivot around the corner, so imagine if you just stepped out, you see this off to your left-hand side. As you pivot around the corner, you are greeted by a 7-foot-tall Numphel. She reaches out, tapping you on the forehead before you can even react. And she says one line to you. One line of what you think might be a poem. Quiet golden miles of dawn. And that, my friends, is where we end. No, I'm just kidding. You mentioned that that's where we'll end today's session. No, just kidding. Part 1 is over. No, but that's where we're actually going to pivot. And we're going to pivot back to, well, you're not sure. Even as players, you're not sure when this is. But it's likely the day or a few days before this. And you have been invited to attend a morning dawn ceremony on the Chronos Station. And I'm curious who of you would have gone, and also I want to offer an opportunity to the crew. Would you like to have had a meeting about this morning dawn ceremony prior to attending? So I want to kind of leave the floor open to the crew to discuss how you'd like to approach.
Zed would definitely like to attend.
Yeah,
Uh,
Ajay
yeah.
intends to go.
Oh yeah, Paris is for sure there.
Captain is busy in his ready room munching on some foods.
Krev would
wouldn't
absolutely go, but he would complain about it the whole time.
If we're sending an away team to the station, including the first officer, the captain won't go.
Okay, perfect. So the captain would have stayed on the ship. So we've got, let's see, that is Commander Ajay, Ensign Zed, Lieutenant Commander Krev, and then Paris, you said you're going as well?
I believe Paris said yes.
You said yes, Paris? Okay, brilliant.
Yeah. I said it.
So
Sorry.
all of you would have attended. So as you made your way over to Chronos Station, you've been at the station for a good two weeks or so post the interviews from the Department of Temporal Investigations. But as you made your way over yonder, get you guys back over here, we are going to have, let me see here really quick, zoom back out, zoom up. All right, so we got Krev, we got Ajay, we got Zed, and then we got Paris. The first thing that you would notice as you made your way across over to the Chronos Station is that the entire station itself seems to have been decorated. The day prior, it was just the same kind of, imagery that you've seen of the Numphels. You saw the different kind of coloring that we've described before. But this time now, everything has been shrouded in this kind of black fabric that is mixed in with this kind of orangey, yellowy tones. It almost looks like the horizon just before dawn. That's what the entire, even the lighting of the station has been changed. But as you entered into the station, your kind of emissary, the Numphel that you've been working with pretty much the entire time, she seems to be a kind of religious leader of sorts, this Ibunia. She greets you, and as she always does, bringing her hands up to her face, may the morning dawn greet you, as she says. And she is always very curious. And as you all approach, she would ask, how does the dawn greet you today?
Oh, is that what she asked us?
Correct.
Zed looks around to see if anyone else is going to answer first.
Same as it always does. There wasn't one because we're on a starship.
But Commander Krev, it is the beginning of a new metaphorical day.
And how does the dawn greet you?
Warmly, and with the light of possibilities.
I must say, you have decorated the station splendidly, and the smell of an air filtration system running at 100% capacity. It is lovely.
The Numphel don't necessarily smile, but their eyes kind of squint as though they are smiling in some way, very similar to a human might. You know, their eyes get a little bit like kind of crunch up. They'll get the little crow's feet on the side of their eyes. But as she does so, you can tell that she is obviously filled with joy in this moment. It is impossible for us to extend our gratitude and to offer you proper thanks for everything you have done for us, both with regards to the darkness and the station itself.
Well, thank you for inviting us to witness your ceremony today. We appreciate it greatly.
She nods. It is... And she seems almost a little uncomfortable and nervous in this moment. It is customary for those that attend to dress in the proper attire. I hope you will understand. And as she motions to her left, if you remember from the 2 sessions ago, there was that kind of orangey looking one that as soon as the singularity in the center of the station went from that black hole to the white hole, he had changed in some ways. The armor had fallen off. He had revealed that he was wearing a very similar cloak or kind of robe to the rest. And he approaches with half a dozen, a little bit more than needed, but human size, Ferengi size, and Betazoid sized, and all different manner of sized robes, and offers them to you. Each of them similar to the kind of banners and this fabric that's been draped all over the hulls of the station.
They are marvelous.
Oh, of course.
Thank you.
Of course, you will have no objections to us also wearing our comm badges. I'm afraid it is quite necessary that we do so.
She nods.
Thank you for your understanding. We'll go get changed.
And as
Thank
the group of you all move off to go get changed into the robes, we're going to pivot back over to the captain's ready room, where, Captain, what would you be working on, like, bright and early in the morning? What would you be working on, good Captain?
I'm probably still examining all the scans from the cloaking device, trying to figure out how it works.
There is a... You know what, let's let you actually make a check on that. Let's give you a insight, either engineering or science, your choice.
I mean, it'd be engineering. I am not a scientist. What's the difficulty?
Difficulty on this is going to be a 4.
Oof, I'm definitely spending a momentum. Experimental technology as a focus?
I'll allow it. A complication.
Oh, God.
So you're looking at it, and you know it works. You know it draws power, but you're not sure how it works. It's a bit beyond your expertise. Maybe if you let Lieutenant Commander Krev poke around in there a little bit more, you might learn some things. Or blow the ship up. Who knows? But your complication, there is a certain young petty officer that has been doing his damnedest to try to get a meeting with the captain. And there is a beep on the door to your ready room that goes right into the turbo lift. And you hear that telltale...
Why? Who designed my ready room to have a door that goes straight into the turbo lift? Come.
As the doors slide open, you would see very timidly, but you would see the young Godfrey kind of poke his head around the corner. Joffrey, excuse me, not Godfrey. The young Joffrey poke his head around the corner. Captain, I hope I'm not disturbing you. I was just hoping that I might get a few moments of your time, sir.
Certainly. Grab a seat.
You see him go to turn on his heel to step back into the turbo lift, then pause, pivot back, look very surprised. Wait, you can talk to me, sir? I'm not interrupting something?
No, I'm just reviewing these reports. I'm sure I can spare a few minutes.
He will make his way over, sit down in the chair, and he just sits there kind of awkwardly for a few moments. I'd really like to help out more around on the ship, sir.
I'm afraid that's impossible, son.
He looks slightly defeated. Oh. May I ask why, sir?
Well, despite the fact that you've shown competence to several of my senior officers, you have no record. I have no record of your training. I have no record of your skills. I have no ability to grant you a clearance to any of the systems. You've done nothing, and don't get me wrong, we haven't given you a lot of opportunity, but you've done nothing to show that you'd be worthy of a field commission. So unfortunately, without your having earned a position on the ship, there's very little I can do for you.
He doesn't get angry. He looks even more determined. But you even said it yourself, sir. You haven't really let me do anything. I could start small, just little things. Maybe helping work on, I don't know, one of the turbo lifts or in a Jeffries tube or something.
Joffrey?
Yes?
Let me show you this report. And he'll tap at his terminal, turn it around. It's the report from Krev about how whatever device it is in his brain overflooded the power and caused the engines to overcharge. Listen, until we have a handle on exactly what it is that you've got riding around in that skull of yours, I can't authorize you being close to any important systems. Through no fault of your own, you might overcharge the engine and strand us somewhere where we can't escape. Or you may cause life support to fail. Or you may accidentally fire the phasers at a planet and cost the lives of hundreds of, if not thousands of people. You're too unpredictable.
Why not just jettison me into space, sir?
Because you're a human life?
He crosses
I'm
his
not
arms
saying-
almost like a pouting child for a moment.
I'm not saying you can never earn a place here on the ship. What I am saying is I can't just give it to you. And until we solve whatever it is that's going on with that device in your head, or remove it if Commander Ajay decides that's the proper course, that device is preventing me from giving you any kind of responsibility on the ship.
Give me a fitness medicine check as you suddenly get the worst splitting headache of your entire life, and it's going to be a difficulty of 2.
Well, I can tell you I'm not fitness medicine in my... All right, I'm not good at those, so I'm going to spend our other momentum to get an extra dice. Composure?
Yeah, I'll allow it.
All right. I mean, it doesn't really matter. My medicine is 2, so I'm doubling my...
Nice! You feel like for a moment you're going to pass out, but you manage to maintain your faculties. Joffrey stands up and actually reaches out in a kind of sympathetic and concerned, doesn't actually touch you as you maintain your facilities. But you hear that, remember all the way back from the first episode, there was this kind of beating heart, this thump, 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 thump that you heard. You start to hear that. And once again, you hear that voice. You listen to the sound of my voice. Can you hear it? Good. Listen to the sound of your own heartbeat. Focus on that heartbeat. That heartbeat starts to get louder and louder. And as it gets louder and louder, you hear a kind of melody being sung. It is beautiful as it is alien. And though it is being sung in a foreign language, in a language alien to the ones you would speak, you like both understand it in the kind of English, I suppose, that everyone speaks in the future, but you also hear it in this alien tongue as well. And it says, "And in my heart, a sudden flower. I want to clap my hands and cry." And Joffrey is standing in front of you, and he like, Captain, are you okay? You look like you blanked out for a second. Is everything all right? Should I call the doctor?
No, it's just a result of, I think, of that device in our decade. No, I'll report to the doctor later myself. Is there anything else I can do for you?
And Joffrey
Mr. Locke?
looks incredibly defeated, but says, "No, sir. I'll be in my quarters if you need me, sir, for anything."
Just
And
make sure you keep popping in the med bay.
Yes, sir. I will, sir. Thank you, sir. And turning on his heel, he spins around and looks a little disappointed, a little sad, but he disappears back into his into the turbo lift and heads to wherever he's going to head, back down to his quarters. And with that, we're actually going to pivot back to, well, to a scene of a certain science officer on deck 3. He still smells the strange kind of swampiness on the deck. He sees these vines that appear to be kind of writhing, almost growing as though they have minds of their own. And as you pivot up and around, you get right to Ensign Zed's quarters. And the door to his quarters is completely covered in what looks to be a thick bark, as though his door is more a tree than an actual door. What would you like to do?
Zed? Bang on. Zed, you in there?
Zed, do me a favor and roll a fitness medicine, difficulty of 1. That is 2 successes, granting you an additional momentum, which is fantastic. Zed, you are awoken from a strange and bewildering dream. You remember a bright, bright flash of light, like seeing a sunrise, the first sunrise you saw at the Starfleet Academy on Earth. It was beautiful, it was glorious, and it was blinding in many ways. But you remember this chant as well. You remember this kind of song that was being sung around you. And you remember a specific line, some of the way I described it to the captain: "For beauty in her secret bower." For beauty in her secret bower. And your ears are kind of ringing. You have the Ferengi ears, quite more sensitive.
Mhm.
But as you awaken, you notice that you are dressed in a, well, not your Starfleet uniform. You have your comm badge, but you're dressed in a, well, you're dressed in a robe. But this robe is white, and it has the yellow and the kind of like orangey looking stripes on it as well. But it is white, not black. You are in your quarters. The quarters are, well, your quarters have about an inch of water on the floor, and it's very soupy in this moment. What would you like to do? You hear on the other side, you hear Paris banging on the door.
Bang, bang. Zed, you in there? Zed?
Zed will look very confused, but then he'll hop down, splash through the water, and go over to the door to try to open it.
The door on your side also appears to be made of bark, kind of a wood-like substance in this moment.
What is this? Will it open or it's closed? It
It is
remains closed.
still closed, yes.
Right. Lieutenant Paris, I'm here. Although I'm not sure if I'm dreaming or not.
No, I don't know either.
I'm going to try to open the doors. If you could pull on them from your side.
All right.
You'll both make a fitness security check, difficulty of 3. So one of you'll make the check, the other can assist.
I will assist.
All right.
That is the main part. That's my assist.
Oh,
Flip. You go to open the door, Zed. You put your back into it. Paris on the other side with his chair crowbar, driving it into the bark. From the other side, you hear a whoop, and Zed, you slip on the slippery water that is on the floor and go face first into the muck. You get a little bit of it in your mouth. It tastes like, well, how you'd imagine swamp water would taste.
Feels homely.
It's very homely.
Yeah.
Wow.
You okay there, buddy?
I fell.
I heard that.
I don't think this is going to work.
Okay. Do you have a phaser in there? Maybe you can cut through.
I'll look, and I'll go to where I normally keep my phaser and tricorder and all that stuff.
As you go to find your phaser and tricorder, you open up the door, and you know what you find? A broken black comm badge.
Broken black comm badge. Like it's been burnt or it's been painted
Cracked.
black. It's cracked.
So the
burnt.
comm badge itself was black, and it's cracked, similar to the one that Lieutenant Paris found.
I'm going to click it.
It sparks slightly, but does not activate.
I'll tuck it. Whoa, will it stick up here beside my other one? I'm going to stick it up here in case I need it later.
Okay.
But any phaser there? No phaser. So on the Intrepid class, do they have panels on the walls that come off that you can manually open the door? Zed's going to try and open one of see if it's still there.
As you go to open the panel, you do so, and you hear a sloshing from behind you.
Zed will whirl around.
You see a very familiar looking Numphel, the kind of high priestess that you've been interacting with. She seems more a kind of a vision than an actual flesh and bone, but you see her slosh through the water. And she sloshes through the water. She says the same line that she said to Lieutenant Paris. Quiet miles of golden sky, and in my heart a sudden flower.
Is that quiet miles?
Quiet miles of golden sky, and in my heart a sudden flower. And she reaches out, and she taps your forehead as well. I'm going to let that sit for a second, because we're going to flash back forward to, you've all taken about 15 minutes to get into your new outfits, and preparing yourselves for the morning dawn ceremony, as it were.
Rev complains the entire time.
I love that.
Are we the only crewmen attending, or are there others?
There are several other lower deckers that have attended as well. Some that are more known than others, but yes, there are a multitude, about, let's say, 24, that are with you to attend this ceremony, which does take place, you might have guessed it, in that central kind of column at the center of the ship with the giant and this beautiful white hole, as it were, in the center. But as you're all approaching, please, Zed, go ahead.
Can Zed say something to Lieutenant Paris? But Ajay and Krev can probably overhear it. Is that all right? Yes. So Zed is going to say, Lieutenant Paris, don't be obvious. But do you see Ensign Taval standing over there? The Klingon from engineering?
Yeah.
I must confess, She frequently gives me very stern looks that I find very stimulating.
This Paris is like,
Don't you think she has the most beautiful frown that you've ever seen?
this is not where I thought this conversation was going, Zach. But I will, you know what? I've met her. She is a very frowny Vulcan, yes. And how about I introduce you the next time we get a chance?
Klingon.
Oh, Klingon. Sorry.
Mhm.
Yes, yes.
Oh, no. No introductions are necessary. I have no time for romantic interactions. As a new officer, I must devote all of my time to concentrate on my new duties, learning the ropes, as they say. Oh, well, Lieutenant, do you have any romantic interests aboard the Ragnar?
Well, I mean,
And Ajay and Krev can probably hear everything that's being
I don't
said
know.
too.
I guess.
Yes, we absolutely can.
Yeah.
Krev
I mean-
is not
Oh,
happy
alright.
about being able to hear about this.
I don't know. I guess Nurse Hagon has a flair for the dramatic. I like it.
Well, it is a new day, the morning dawn.
Morning dawns at
Who knows what new relationships will begin on this day?
Paris notices that the doc can clearly hear, just like turns instantly red. Like, are we ready? Yeah.
And as
yes,
that
of course.
conversation is going on, the leader, this Numphel that has been your tour guide through the station, through Chronos Station, Ibunia, she is walking along with Commander Ajay and Lieutenant Commander Krev close at hand as well. And she's been somewhat quiet, somewhat reverent. Reverent? Is that the right word? Did I say it right? Reverent? There it is.
Mhm.
Reverent of everything going on. And it's a good couple minute walk to get from the landing bay all the way to the center of the station. I mean, this place is huge. There are some, tram like things that you take and some like those like fast walkways that you get on. These are like hyper fast walkways, that zip you along. But as she's walking, she kind of curiously looks over to Commander Ajay, and it seems almost out of characteristic for her to pry a little bit. But she says, "Commander Ajay, I have been meaning to ask you something. May I pry upon you about some of your beliefs?"
Of course. I don't believe in hiding them.
Do you find our worship of the light strange?
No, certainly not. It's quite understandable.
And what makes it understandable?
I suppose that it's a force beyond you, but it affects you nonetheless. That's what the prophets are to my people.
Can you tell me more of these prophets?
The prophets are beings of spirit that we cannot. They communicate with us, but only when they choose to do so. We know they are there, and they have given us the gifts of their orbs, but non-believers call them wormhole aliens.
And at the mention of wormhole aliens, there is this kind of... It sounds more akin to a cough than a laugh, but you've come to know that this is the way that they show joy or amusement. And she lets that cough out and says, "There are those that used to not believe, that would claim our most holy figure is much akin to. She makes a motion to both you and Lieutenant Paris in this moment.
Mm. That your most holy figure was humanoid.
She nods. But we know better than that. Yiva Kol was sent from the divinity, divine that is the white light.
Just because she looked like us doesn't mean she is us.
Precisely.
Our prophets sometimes take familiar forms to speak with us. But that is just a form. It is not what they are. Perhaps this Yiva Kol is the same.
And she nods. She nods. It is nice to interact with a species that is so understanding of what we believe. I hope you gain much from attending the morning ceremony.
Thank you. I look forward to seeing it.
And as you maneuver down and down the long corridor, getting closer and closer and closer, she kind of like trails behind a little bit and then gets up next to Lieutenant Commander Karev, and in a very similar kind of tone. Karev, you heard a little bit of this conversation. She's got those two sets of eyes, the top part, the lower part. And the ones that are on the side of her head are one of them's watching you, Karev. And it's been watching you for about 5 minutes of walking. And she finally speaks up and says, "You are not a believer, are you?"
Me? I believe in science. I believe in the seeable universe that we live in, testable, and yeah, my people gave up their superstitions hundreds of years ago. We are driven by facts and not logic. I mean, we're not Vulcans, but the known.
Then why choose to attend our ceremony?
It looks like it would be interesting, and he says kind of low and conspiratorially, and sometimes it's nice to hang out with my crewmates.
And she lets out that kind of cough. That's a laugh. And leans in a little closer and whispers, "Your secret is safe with me." And as she leans back, she says very aloud, "Lieutenant Commander Karev, it is wonderful that you are so open-minded to our culture and beliefs. I look forward to you helping lead the ceremony." And then again, that kind of like squinty eyes that they do, where, they're smiling and showing joy. She then motions for you to join her at the head of the pack, as it were, as you make your way down the hallway.
That is quite an honor, Commander.
And he starts just
You got this, Krev.
the low rumble of complaining that he's been doing, like, steps up a couple levels, just completely under his breath. He's swearing in like 6 different languages. Just and he goes up to the front.
And as we pivot back, we're actually going to pivot back over to the captain. And Captain, you've had a couple of hours to go through these records, reports, trying to understand this strange cloaking device on the Ragnar. Unfortunately, haven't made much headway. Where would you have headed off to at, say, 1100 hours?
I imagine that since I had a near migraine, I'm going to head down to sickbay.
Excellent. And as you get down to sickbay, this is, of course, happening during the away mission.
Oh, of course.
You are going to run into not the good doctor.
Everybody.
Not the good doctor. Not Godfrey. But roll me
Joffrey.
a... It's Joffrey. I keep saying Godfrey. It's my bad. All right. You're going to roll me a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Roll me a d6. Let's see who we run into here today. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Who is playing the emergency medical hologram? Who created that?
That would be
character?
me.
Lieutenant Commander Krev, you are now taking on the role of the emergency medical hologram as the good captain steps in to the medical bay. Go ahead and take it away.
Please state the nature of the medical emergency.
Oh, no. I know I told Ajay that she could, I told Shahir she could take time off. I didn't realize we were going to be, hi. I had a
Good
situation
evening, Captain.
earlier. It's not an emergency, but I did have some headaches, and I once again heard voices, and I figured I'd check in with the doctor.
Interesting. Please step up to the scanning bed, Captain. And the doctor walks up with his medical scanner and starts poking at buttons and looking at screens and waving wands over the captain.
Go ahead and make an insight and medicine difficulty of 2.
Insight, medicine, and I will use a momentum for that as well.
Right on.
He has a focus of triage.
Mhm.
Would that be usable?
Not really. Not really, unfortunately.
It's worth a shot.
He's not really dying. That is 1 success. So unfortunately, the good hologram is not sure what's going on with the captain. In fact, Captain, the headache starts to increase in intensity, and that heartbeat sound starts to get louder and louder, and it feels like your own heart's about to burst out of its chest. And you hear a woman's voice. You know how you've suppressed that. You've suppressed your heritage, your Betazoid heritage, to be able to read minds, your telepathy, as it were. You hear a woman's voice as though you're hearing her thoughts. And she says, "Don't worry, Joffrey. Don't worry. Your father and I won't let anything happen to you." As that statement is said, the whole ship shakes for a moment.
Nothing, Doc? I'm
No, I'm unable to find any cause for your symptoms. Your vital signs do seem to be quite unstable. My medical databases are saying that it could either be a stress headache or cancer. It always says cancer.
well, what would the treatment be if it were a stress headache?
Usually we would give a light analgesic and recommend sleep, rest.
Well, I can't.
Perhaps some warm milk.
Mention
Or
of warm
tea.
milk. One of the Cation officers step in. No, I'm kidding. We're gonna tap. Your comm badge goes off in this moment, and you hear Ensign Minerva, who is actually up on the bridge currently. Ensign Minerva to the captain.
Tracer here.
Captain, did you authorize the cloaking device to be engaged?
I did not.
Sir, you may wish to get up here. Someone's activated the cloaking device, and sir, the ship. Sir, you better get up here.
Understood. All right, Doc.
I would
Hook me up with a.
s-
hook
I
me
would
up with a
certainly-
Tylenol.
I would certainly not recommend he goes while he's picking up the medication. I would certainly not recommend engaging in whatever foolishness is going on the bridge to reduce your stress, Captain.
I'll take that under advisement, Doctor.
I'm sure you won't.
Oh no, I took your advice. I just am not going to pay any attention to it.
Well,
I have
yes.
bigger responsibilities right now.
Like I said, I'm sure you won't.
And
Have a
then,
good day, Captain.
And then Tracer will break into a trot to head towards the.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. And now back to a scene with Ensign Zen and Lieutenant Paris on deck 3. You're in a swamp. There's weird vines. Your door is a tree. I don't know. It's weird right now. But yeah, you what are you guys gonna do? How are you gonna get out of this mess?
Did the alien disappear
She
after
did.
she touched my head?
She did.
Lieutenant Paris, for a moment I saw one of the aliens from the Chronos Station.
Yeah, I saw her too. She give you a cryptic line of, something about golden,
Yes, indeed.
golden
Quite.
sky, or
Yes, it's something about a flower opening as well.
we got to get you out, buddy. Just put you back into it.
You do have the panel up, Ensign said. So that
Oh,
difficulty,
yes.
I think it was a 2, is now down to a difficulty 1 check for the both of
All
you.
right. I'm going to try to manually open the door from the access panel.
All right, you pump the door. I'll try to force it on my side.
Excellent. Would that be the same roll, or would this be an engineering roll?
I'll load engineering
Yeah.
roll. Absolutely.
Uh,
If you want it.
Sure.
I'll support with my fitness security.
Let's see what we have here. Okay. So would that be fitness engineering?
I'll allow it. Absolutely.
Let's see. Fitness engineering.
Oof.
Oof.
Oof. Oof. Oh man, that door budges. Ensign said, "You're going to town."
Yes.
You realize that the gears inside of there are all mucked up with vines and weird moss
Right.
and stuff. And finally, you hear the cracking of the bark. You see a lower part of a chair kind of like wedge its way in, and then Lieutenant Paris strongmans this door open. Crack.
Oh no!
All right. All right.
First there was one, they were alone, and now there are 2, and they are together.
Excellent. I woke up wearing this robe. It seems to match the colors of the security or the operations division.
Yeah, but were we wearing black? I don't remember. Look, let's go see if the captain's in his quarters.
Agreed. We'll have to make sure that everyone else is all right.
So yeah, we head to the captain's quarters.
So you get to the kind of end of the hallway. You see that the door that was open is now closed.
That door was open before.
Is it wood also? Is it
It's
wooden
not
also?
a normal, regular Starfleet door.
At least we're not dealing with a wooden door.
Yeah. We'll go up to the door and see if it opens normally, or then try to open it the hard way.
You tap it. Do you wave your hand in front of it? What do you do?
No, I tried
Chris?
to see if the panel works on the side.
There is a small amount of power to that panel.
Just activating the panel to open.
You activate the panel.
Yes.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Panel slides open. You're eaten alive. No. So as the panel slides open, there is this kind of Dagobah like mist that rolls out from the captain's quarters. Inside of those quarters, you see what appears to be all of these vines and roots that are kind of wriggling and writhing like tiny worms or like snakes all together. And they're all writhing to the center of the quarters. And they all coalesce around this giant, about 7 foot tall, about 4 feet wide at its widest. It looks to be a kind of cocoon in the center of the captain's quarters.
The captain could be in there.
Time to take out my trusty tricorder and scan it. See if there's a Metazoid life sign in there.
Give us a control medicine.
Roll medicine difficulty. Difficulty?
2. Sorry.
2. Yeah, how about I give you a threat just to make things spicy? Get a third
I'm
die.
gonna spend that threat. That as you go to scan it, you watch as vines start to grow over the entrance of the door, as though it's trying to block it off.
There's nothing sharp in here that can be used as a
Can I still
makeshift
scan, or
sword or anything.
You
is
can
there?
scan. It's just it's starting to close
Yeah.
itself off. It's slow. Vines are like growing and intertwining, starting to like build a door up and over.
Well, nah.
Oh, I love when you roll zeros. That is a success with a complication. So here's the good news. You do pick up a life sign inside of that cocoon. Here's the bad news. Your tricorder doesn't recognize what that life sign is. But there's something alive in there. It's wriggling. It's moving. But you don't know what it is.
All right, time to free it and see what it is.
Yeah, Zed's gonna, scramble around the room to find anything, a sharp-like object that he could use to try to
Pick up my leg chair again.
cut through these or anything.
There should be a Betazoid Akai mounted on the wall. I mean, it looks like effectively looks like a katana, but it's a Betazoid Akai.
Well, if that is there, Zed will take that.
You move into the room, Zed. Is that correct?
Oh, yes.
Excellent. Give me a fitness security check as you take 2 feet and steps into the room.
Right.
Lieutenant Paris, you notice that some of those vines, well, they're kind of grasping towards Ensign Zed's feet.
Oh, then I'm going to try and grasp him out and
Oh, yeah.
pull him out.
You can assist him on this check. It's difficulty of 2 check, Ensign Zed.
All right.
It's going so well.
You love this. Fitness security.
You got it.
Oh, I'm sorry, Zed.
Zed, you get about 3 steps into the room. As you're about 3 steps into the room, you go to lift up your right foot and realize you can't. And you look down, and there's a bunch of vines that are wrapping and writhing their way around your leg. And then you look at your left foot. There's a bunch of vines that are wrapping and writhing their way up. And then you look over at the cocoon and realize, oh gods, I think what happened to that thing is happening to me. And this is where we find ourselves.
Do I see the weapon on the wall that the captain described?
You know what you do?
Zed's, I know his feet are locked, but he's just going to try and throw himself forward. Hopefully he can reach it or hit it and knock it off so that he can grab it.
I love where your mind's at. And as Zed goes to throw himself forward, we're going to pivot on back to our morning dawn ceremony at Chronos Station, because that Feels wonderful. So you all have finally arrived at the center of the station. And you see that the white hole is still, well, it's still a white hole. The giant, claw-like arms are rising up and, containing it. You see the pulsing of the power. But you also notice that well, actually, I'm going to have you make a check for this. Karev, you would likely be the one that would notice this. You would likely be the one that would notice this. I want you to go ahead and roll an insight engineering check on the power system that is this white hole. You've been researching it for the last 2 weeks, likely poking around, trying to figure out what's going on. Let's see if you notice something.
Insight, engineering. How many successes do I need?
Present it to you.
Say again. You just cut out.
How
for
many-
me for-
How many successes do I need?
This is a difficulty of 2 check.
Okay. Do I have a focus, like improvisation or fusion reactors or damage control, warp systems, something like that?
I'm gonna go with improvisate. I can't say the word. Say it again.
I got you.
Improvisation. Improvisation. Wow, I couldn't say improvisation for a second. Worst game master ever.
Okay.
It's okay. I can take over if you need.
Thank you.
Damn it.
So you're looking at it, and that's a white hole. It's working, and that's that. But you were all welcomed in, and if you remember, I described it 2 sessions ago. There's this giant kind of circular walkway. There's different levels and tiers that rise up. There's this central pillar that falls down, a la Luke inside Cloud City, and there's just this endless hole into the abyss, as it were. You see that it rises up, deck after deck after deck. And you notice that all of the Numphel that are on the station seem to have gathered. And each of them is holding a tiny, crystalline, almost like a tiny obelisk in their hands. And it's clear crystal. But at the center, kind of near the top, if they're holding it with 2 hands, these little crystal objects are about 1.5 feet long. But at the top, you see that there's a tiny little golden, it looks like a little golden sun piece of metal that somehow has been placed into the crystal without cracking it. And each of them are holding this. And as you cross through the entrance into this area, you all see that they're all gathered and they're all making this kind of low, kind of like a humming sound. It sounds like almost kind of like a low Gregorian chant, like very guttural, very low, deep, just a single tone. And it's kind of resonating off the walls. And it's it's honestly very calming. It's very, if you ever listen to Gregorian chant, I find it very calming myself. So that's what
It
you're
can
picking
be.
up on. But she steps up in front and looks back at Lieutenant Commander Karev. Are you ready to help lead the ceremony?
I suppose if I must.
She
Oh,
extends
you must.
one of her long hands, long arms with her hands, and offers it to you, Lieutenant Commander Karev.
He reaches up with his stumpy trotter-like hoof and takes her hand.
As you move to take her hand, you feel this kind of tingle of energy as the two of you, your hands connect, and you and her begin to make your way slowly across one of the large walkways that lead towards the center near the white hole. The rest of you are, I guess, corralled, but not in an aggressive way, but you were offered positions along and among the Numphel. And if you would imagine, there's this huge circular center area, and there are, all of the Numphel that are here. There's a couple hundred that were here, and you see all of them gathered around, all of them holding each of you, Lieutenant Paris, Commander Ajay, and Ensign Zed are offered a small crystal with that little golden sun, and some of the Numphel, tell you how to hold it. It's about midsection, just in front. The sun's just in front of the solar plexus, and that you are to glance up at the white hole with a kind of curious reverence, is the way they describe it to you. A curious reverence. And I'm curious, do you all follow suit, or do you take it a little offhandedly? How do you choose to interact with this ceremony?
Paris is very awkward and doesn't hold it properly and doesn't know exactly what he's doing, and looks up in a bit of confusion more than reverence.
Ajay will mimic the Numphels as best as she can.
Mhm.
She's used to finicky, precise rituals, so
Very
she
good.
probably manages okay.
Very good. I'm going to have each of you. What about Zed? Zed, you tell us. What are you doing here?
Zed already had a curious awe on his face.
I love
So
it.
he just looks up at it, with anticipation.
Very good. Very good. And as Zed and Zed looks up in anticipation, I mean, each of you to roll a presence and your respective departments. So if you want it to be security, if you want it to be engineering, if you want it to be science, just presence. Lieutenant Commander Krev, you're going to hold off. Don't make your check yet, as she's leading you across. But as they make that, this is a free check. It's a difficulty 0. We're going to see if you guys can get some momentum, and because you might need it. But Lieutenant Commander Krev, you make your way across, and she leads you, and it's a little bit of a walk across there, But as you get about halfway across, she stops, and she kind of turns around and looks down at you. She's very tall, much taller than Karev. And she says, "Do you carry any darkness in your heart?"
Darkness in my heart? What does that mean?
She looks not perturbed, but concerned. "Do you carry hatred? Do you carry the fear that comes with the night? Do you carry darkness in your heart?"
I guess I don't.
She nods. "Then you are ready to receive the light and to be received by it." And as she turns, still holding her hand, two of you begin to make your way closer and closer. And the hum of all the Numphel around grows and grows and gets louder and louder and more intense and more intense. And the white hole begins to... So it's kind of this like swirling, like if you've ever seen images of a black hole, it kind of looks like it's like the light's being sucked into it. You can see the event horizon. So it's like that, but it's white, and it's like giving off this bright... There's still a horizon, as it were, event horizon. And you watch as it starts to kind of pulse and begins to kind of almost look like it's shrinking a little bit. And then you notice as it starts to kind of swirl. And Commander Ajay, this would look very familiar to you. It starts to kind of look like a... Well, it starts to kind of look like a wormhole.
Wormhole.
Yeah. It starts to kind of swirl and swirl and swirl. And Ensign Zed, as you're watching this, you feel your crystals start to kind of shake and vibrate in your hands. And you notice it's just yours. And one of the Numphel to your left says, "Do you carry any darkness in your heart?"
Not on purpose.
It smiles, places a calming hand on your shoulder, and shows you that you were holding it a little bit too high, and asks you to bring it a little bit lower. And as soon as you bring it lower, the crystal stops shaking, and it feels kind of warm and peaceful in your hand. Commander Ajay, you're standing next to the one that tried to not chase you, but that you released. Then it ran, betrayed you. Seems pretty friendly. And it's watching you a little bit, the corner of its head. And I'm curious, how are you feeling in this moment as you're watching this, what looks to be kind of a wormhole start to form?
Probably odd a little bit. Uh, I didn't get to see the wormhole that much. I didn't spend a lot of time on the space station. I was mostly grew up on planet.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mhm.
it's always like it's not the wormhole that my prophets live in, but it feels that familiar sense of awe.
Yeah. The Numphel that is next to you, that one that you released, leans in and give me a presence in medicine, because you kind of catch him out of the corner of your eye. It kind of looks like he wants to say something, but he's hesitating. I want to see if just your look, your presence, your calm seems to open him up a little bit. Presence medicine, difficulty of 2. You do have no successes. He simply does that kind of eye squinty thing that means he's smiling, and then kind of leans back and allows you to continue to take this all in with awe. And then last, but certainly not least, we have Lieutenant Paris. Lieutenant Paris, how are you feeling in this
In
moment?
awe of the magnitude and beauty of science,
Ah, yes.
but
Science.
completely forgetting that he's holding the crystal and
It
like
dips down slightly, and one of the Numphel next to you feel its hand kind of come underneath and help lift it back up. Give me a insight science, because I want to see if you notice something in the center of this wormhole that seems to be forming in this white hole.
astrophysics.
Yeah.
Is there difficulty?
Difficulty of 3. Did you guys get no momentum from that difficulty 0 check?
Wait, no, didn't we? We got momentum.
No, we got like
didn't we?
4.
Okay,
Oh,
I was
Yeah.
gonna say
yeah,
you should
yeah.
have 4
Yeah.
momentum, because like you're gonna need it.
So I'm gonna take one threat so that I can bolt science and
I love
reroll
it.
any. But I will take the other 2
Mhm.
Momentum to get 4 dice.
Mhm.
So insight, science.
Jesus.
Holy
So
crap.
science is my thing.
Oh my god, so that was amazing. Yeah, this is definitely a wormhole, and it's definitely about to spit something out. Something maybe big, and, well, while there's a lot of people standing around here, maybe they shouldn't be standing here. I don't know. That's crazy. Holy crap, man. That's 6 successes, you sly son of a biscuit. That was amazing. Yeah. And, yeah, you can do with that information as you see fit, Lieutenant Paris.
Commander, we should not be here. There's something coming out of whatever that wormhole is, and yeah, we really should not be. And yeah, this is
A little
Hear the
late
humming.
to leave, Lieutenant.
oh my god.
Back at the base of the white hole, there's a kind of almost, it feels like a breeze, like a cool breeze is like flowing out from the white hole. And Lieutenant Commander Krev, you know that's not normal. But as you get up to the kind of base of this platform, the computer system, the Numphel, your friend, as it were, motions over to the computer terminal, and she says, "Please begin the ceremony."
He looks over. What do I do?
You will know.
Okay. Krev walks up to the console.
So there is a extreme excess of power. And I'm not going to make you make a check for this because you're smart. You're an engineer. It is as though the white hole has been turned to 11, dialed all the way up to 11, and it needs to send that power somewhere. So where would Karev like to send it?
I I guess. Are there any unpowered systems on the station?
Give me an insight engineering.
Insight.
Difficulty of 2. You have 6 momentum. I encourage you to use some of it.
Engineering. Yeah. I'll use 3 to get 2 extra dice.
So as mentioned in the opening log, there's some...
Can I use? Sorry. Can I use my focus of improvisation?
Absolutely, because you use that for everything, and I can't tell you no. That is perfect. Absolutely perfect. You get a momentum back. So as was opened in the opening log, there's a couple of sections of the station that are, well, off limits for religious purposes. And at the pinnacle, the top part of the station, respectively, there's a large chamber that, for all scans and all intents and purposes, well, it kind of looked like it was blacked out. It actually reminds you of a certain device on a certain Ragnar. Kind of similar to the way that looks. But that is currently unpowered.
He looks down. I knew I should not have come here today, and he redirects the power to the black box, bane of his existence.
As you pivot the power back to the black box bane of your existence, that's alliteration, we're going to pivot back over to the bridge of the Ragnar, where the good captain has arrived at the bridge. And Captain, there is this... Well, there's a bit of a buzz on the bridge. Sir, I don't know what this is. It's like a huge power spike at the top of the station. I don't know. It seems like it's opening some sort of warp hole? A wormhole? A warp? No, warp. Wait, wrong IP. Where are we? And there's just everyone's kind of starting to panic and kind of freak out in this moment. And Captain, as you get onto the bridge, where do you do? What do you do? What's the situation?
Ragnar to OA team.
No response.
Ops, do we have our people on transporters?
Checking, sir. Sir, I can't get a lock on them. There's too much interference.
Science, what's the danger?
And science starts boop, 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 booping away. And in fact, I would like to actually have some of you guys play some of your characters. Who created Petty Officer First Class Enya?
I did.
That is your character. So you're at the science station. Let's see. We've got an engineering who is going to be... That is... Who is engineering right now? Is that one of...
Frank Moran.
Is that your guy?
Nope.
No? Who's
It's
Frank?
fine.
That's yours? Okay, you're going to play Frank Moran. And let's see here. Who would be the security officer that you'd like to have? Ensign Zed. Who would you like to play here?
Oh, had to unmute myself. I made Lieutenant Angela Quinn.
I love it. We're going to grab Angela Quinn onto the map. And you guys can take it away. Take it away, my friends.
I can't get a lock on anything, Captain. There's far too much interference. It's like there's... I've only seen readings like this off the Bajoran wormhole.
On the view screen, there's a giant kind of swirling energy mass that looks like a wormhole being formed. And it's growing in size exponentially. And you see it looks like it's being siphoned or like given power, siphoning power from the space station.
Tactical, see if you can narrow the communications broadcast and bring up the away team. Engineering, what's the danger of this wormhole?
At this distance, Captain, it could probably tear their ship in half.
Try and keep us as far from that wormhole as possible without leaving the immediate venue of the station. Try and keep us in transporter range.
Aye, sir.
Tactical, I need those comms.
Maneuvering thrusters. And tactical, we're going to have you roll a... let's see here. Tactical is going to roll a control security difficulty of 1.
All right. Control security. Difficulty of 1.
Dun, dun, dun.
Come on.
I believe. Oh, nice!
Oh, right.
So, here's the good news. You pick up all of the away team's comm badges. You actually have a connection to all of the away team's comm badges. You actually narrow the band and now have a connection. You can raise them on the comm.
Captain, we can raise the away team on the comm now.
Ragnar to away team.
Away team, you all hear the captain for a split second go Ragnar to away. Each one of your comm badges fizzles, cracks in half, and turns pitch black. I'm spending 3 threat to do that.
That's not good at all.
Ajay's gonna tap at hers again. Just yep.
Right.
Science, do you have a lock on those comm edges? We need to beam them off the station.
I had it for a brief moment, but I lost them.
Science? Give us a control science, a difficulty of 1 check, because you're starting to pick up some weird readings. It might even be a ship attempting to make its way through the wormhole.
What did you say the attribute was?
That's going to be control science, difficulty of 1. Damn!
Hey.
Damn!
Yes.
Ah, the lower deckers are crushing it today. Woo! There we go. That's what I love to see. So, science, you are picking up you're picking up a Federation signal. And you're starting to see what looks to be a ship of some kind making its way through this wormhole. And as you watch it, you see, and with that success, you recognize a Prometheus-class Federation vessel emerge through the wormhole. As you scan it, it picks up as none other than the USS Shivani Manne.
Captain, that ship emerging from the wormhole. It's the Shivani Manne.
How did
Right.
you get here? Oh, sorry, Captain.
Through that wormhole, apparently. Engineering, try oscillating the nonlinear osmotic flux regulator. Let's see if we can cut through that distortion and beam our people off.
Hi, Captain.
And go ahead and give a control science. Difficulty of 2 on this.
Engineering.
Engineering, excuse me. Control engineering, excuse me. Yes.
And I will use his focus of transporters.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
Can I get a...
Spend some momentum.
Yeah.
You
can
have
I
so
get a couple
many.
momentum?
Yes, you absolutely may.
Like, how about we go down to 3 there? Yeah. All right.
Hey.
It's 3.
Fantastic. You get 1 momentum right back. And you're able to lock on to all 4 of the away team. Actually, there's a bunch of away team members right now. You're able to lock on to half of them. It's going to take you maybe 1 or 2 transports, but you can start bringing your people back off the station.
I have this in you, cool, sir.
You've got a lock. Start transporting. In fact,
Understood.
pass some controls over here. I'll transport from my station.
Understood, Captain.
And you watch as you start to transport 1, 2, 3, 6, 12. You're starting to get everybody. And then there is a huge kind of pulse. This bright white light. And I'm going to pivot you guys back out to the Chronos Station, where you see this Prometheus-class vessel has positioned itself and appears to be firing some sort of tight wave tachyon beam at the wormhole, and the wormhole is growing larger and larger. And as we watch that happen, I'm going to give you a chance to respond. We're actually going to pivot back over to, well, to a strange scene where Ensign Zed is currently being, I don't know, eaten by something. And I'm curious, Lieutenant Paris and Ensign Zed, what are you guys going to do? What are you going to do about this?
Well,
Zed,
Zed was trying to get the sword, right?
Zed is, yes, at least trying to
Lunging.
knock it off the wall. Yes.
Fitness security difficulty of 2.
Yes.
You do have 4 momentum.
All right.
I
well,
really want you to succeed.
I really want to succeed too.
I really want to as well, Daryl. That's fair. That's wonderful.
So, let's see. Oh, you said fitness security?
Mhm.
Let's see. And so, is it 1 momentum?
1 for 1 extra dice,
And
3
then
for
2
3 extra dice.
3
2
for
extra
3.
dice. 3 for 2 extra
I'm
dice.
gonna go ahead and spin that 3 if that's okay.
For 2, so roll 4 total dice. I think that's a great
Okay.
idea. All crit fails. No, I'm kidding.
No.
I believe. Oh, it's difficult to do. That's a success. That's wonderful. So lunging forward, you feel the vines pulling you back, but you manage to just, those little clawed hands, grab onto the hilt of the sword, the handle of the sword, excuse me. Grab on the handle, and you fall to the ground, and you're able to swing back in one swift motion and cut the vines off of you. But you feel them starting to kind of creep back up and trying to grab onto you as well.
Zed's gonna Zed's gonna retreat towards the door and try and get out again.
You do so. You're able to make your way out.
Can I help him?
We've got to help whoever's in that cocoon.
Yes. Do you have any suggestions?
Zed looks at a loss as he's looking around. It looks like he's about to step back in and start hacking.
Whoa! We don't just step back in.
What if this is the captain in there?
Then we need either a phaser or fire. So I think I don't know, push these vines back.
Agreed. Perhaps we should go to the nearest weapons cache.
Good idea. Lead the way.
And so we'll start heading. I don't know if they've got weapons on each deck or if it's in one deck.
Absolutely. They would. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So there's a weapons cache kind of right around the backside, near the middle of the of this deck. If you were to pivot back over towards where like the emergency transporters are, as it were, you should be able to find some weapons. So as you guys both make your way over, you get up and around the corner, and as you round the corner, you see a figure. You see a red-headed woman in a Starfleet uniform. Looks a little bit out of date, more sort of the Dominion Wars, as it were, and she is currently interacting with a panel, and she appears to be, well, entering something into the panel. You're not sure what it is, but I'm going to go ahead and actually drag her onto the map so you can see what she looks like, and this is what she looks like. She is mashed away at this panel, right at that passageway right there.
Excuse me,
Does she have a rank on her?
Captain.
Captain?
Captain.
She turns over, kind of
Captain.
looks you up and down really quick, and then goes back to what she's doing. No time. I don't have any time. It's got to happen now, or it doesn't happen at all.
Can I do some type of insight roll to see if I trust her or if I think she's...
You tell me, Zed, do you trust the random red-headed captain lady who's on your ship in the middle of this chaos, or not?
No,
It's your call, man.
Zed
It's
does
your
not.
call.
Zed will thrust out the Betazoid sword and say, "My apologies, Captain, but step away from the panel."
Without even flinching, she reaches to her side, draws a phaser, and points it at you. And that's where we're going to cut away from that scene. And we are going to go back over to the inside of Chronos Station, where things have started to escalate, along with everything that's happening outside as well. And Karev, you are over near this panel, and everything's getting a little crazy. You see the white hole starting to pulse, it's swirling, and from up above you, as you look up, Lieutenant Commander Karev, you think you see a human figure kind of hovering, almost like 2001: A Space Odyssey, Star Child style, in the center of this swirling white hole. You can't really make it out. It's just kind of a white glowing outline, but you definitely think you see somebody in the center of there.
I look over to the alien next to me. Do you see the figure in the wormhole up there?
She looks to you, her eyes squinting in the way that they smile. Quiet miles of golden dawn, and in my heart a sudden flower. I want to clap my hands and cry for beauty in her secret bower. Quiet golden miles of dawn, smiling all the east along, and in my heart night fully blown, a little rosebud of a song. And then she just places a warming, calm hand on your shoulder, and just looks up in this kind of awe and reverence at this figure that's hovering above you in the center of the white hole.
So yes.
That's funny.
Also,
I see you, Brian.
He goes back to punching away at buttons, trying to get things to work.
Mm-hmm. And what are you trying to accomplish?
He's trying to keep things together. Keep the power that he's putting into the black box stable.
Oh, it's chewing up as much as you siphon into it. It is chewing it up, and you have no idea what it's doing. Those on the bridge of the Ragnar do, but those inside don't, and it's glorious. Karev, you notice too that you're feeling a little light. You're a heavy guy, right? You're pretty thick. You're pretty heavy guy as far as your Karev goes.
He's thick with three C's.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you feel really light, and as you're poking away at this computer, you realize that, wait a minute, you're starting to hover off the ground. That's weird. You shouldn't be hovering off the ground. Wait, you're starting to move towards that white wormhole thing. That's probably not good. What do you want to do about that?
Shit.
Please don't.
Am I supposed? He looks over at this grinning dipshit alien.
She covers her eyes as they do. The morning light has chosen
flying.
The morning light has chosen. Bask now in the morning light. And you look back, and Lieutenant Paris, you're starting to hover. Commander Raja, you're starting to hover. Ensign Zed, you're not hovering. And then you start to hover. And you're all slowly maneuvering your ways over towards the white hole. Kind of being drawn towards it.
No.
Oh, if I throw down the crystal, does that change anything?
I love it. You throw down the crystal, and as you throw down the crystal and it crashes into the metal plating, it shatters, and everything inside of the room goes silent for a moment. The white hole in the center of the room, well, it starts to look a little darker. All of the creatures inside the room, I can't believe you threw it down. You're crazy. I love that this happened. I had this contingency. Things about to get real broken. All right, now we understand why things got so broken. All right, so with that being said, the white hole starts to shimmer and shake. All of the Numphel, this ohm that they were doing, they start to gasp and shriek and say, "No, the Chosen has filled themselves with darkness. No, the light cannot pass. The light cannot pass."
Yeah.
Lieutenant Commander Karev, you are sucked up into the black part of the black hole. Everything goes black for you. Lieutenant Paris, you are sucked into the black part of the black hole. Everything goes black for you. Commander Ajay, you see this little like star child-like creature in the center of this white hole. And as you get closer, you're being drawn towards it. It kind of pivots towards you, and you see a red-headed woman that looks very similar to the certain captain that we saw in a previous scene. And she looks at you and looks kind of half awake in this moment, but then you two are sucked into the black hole and everything goes black. Ensign Zed, you collapse to the ground, and there's a bunch of angry Numphel staring at you. Very angry. You have broken the ceremony. Yiva Kol, she was coming back to us. You have broken the ceremony. He must be cleansed. He must be anointed. And they all start to rush towards you. Imagine like 300 guys rushing towards Ensign Zed. And that, I think, is a great moment to pivot away from that scene, where we pivot back over to the bridge. And as we pivot back over to the bridge of the Ragnar, I need the science station to give us a insight science, because that white hole starts to shift and shimmer and then goes from white to black, and you watch as the entire space station starts to be torn asunder and pulled into the black hole, which is probably not good.
Hey.
That is the 2 successes you needed, plus an extra 2, bring you back to 3 momentum. You guys are caught in the event horizon of a black hole. Not much you can do about it now. Something went bad. The tachyon beam from that Prometheus ship, well, it stops, and you watch as that ship gets pulled through that black hole almost instantaneously. And the Ragnar's got about, 30 seconds before it hits the black hole.
Captain, we're about to get sucked into that black hole.
Ooh, I've been in this simulation before. All right, engineering. Eject the warp core. Tactical, be ready. As the warp core clears, you want to fire 3 photon torpedoes to hit both the center and each end. And then Helm, be ready to engage warp 9.9 moments before we eject the core.
Captain?
On my mark.
All right.
Yes, Captain.
Step 1, Captain. What is it?
Step 1 is engaging the to warp 9.9 on the escape course. On escape
Excellent.
vector.
Excellent. That is going to be the ensign at the helm, which I will go ahead and grab him.
Tenant.
Is he a lieutenant at the helm? Oh, that is a lieutenant at the helm. Excuse me. All right. Let me grab him really quick. We're going to see how well this goes. All right. So let me grab my Lieutenant Shear. All right, Lieutenant Shear. All right, so he is going to do a daring and con. He does have helm operations. Difficulty on this, I'm going to spend some threat. Difficulty 3.
I aid him by telling him how to do it with Presence command.
All right, perfect. Babel focus,
Does the
yes.
ship help as well?
Oh, Lieutenant Shear coming through with the clutch! Warp 9.9 engaged.
I have astronavigation, so I'm going to use that as a focus.
Boom! You guys are capped on momentum. I love it. All right, this is good. This is good. So step 1 is done. That's good. The ship is groaning, struggling against this.
All right, and now, step 2, eject the warp core.
Engineering.
Oh yeah.
Difficulty of 3.
Using those 3 momentum and the focus of warp technology.
I love it.
I advise him again.
Boom! The warp core is ejected.
How many extra momentum do we have there?
Right now you're sitting on the difficulty of 3, 2, 3, 4, 5. You use 3.
6.
You have 5 momentum right now.
We were at 6.
I know we were already
3.
capped at 6. So
You're at 6.
with
You
this,
spent 3. You got 2
right,
back.
we spent 3.
Mhm.
2 back.
All right.
All right, last step.
I would like to spend 2 of the momentum that we have to create an advantage, which is that science is able to maintain the warp bubble with the tactical systems,
I love
despite
it.
the fact that we don't have an actual functioning warp core in the ship at the moment.
Nice.
I'll allow it.
All right, so that means we'll be down to 3 momentum,
Okay.
which I'm just going to put on the table because I'm sure we're going to spend it. And then the last just tactical should shoot the warp core simultaneously with 3 photon torpedoes, the center and both ends, so that the explosion is directed behind us, negating the forces that are sucking us in.
Tactical. I've been sitting on the remaining threat that I have. And because you, Zed, got us into this mess, you're going to be the one to try and get everybody out.
All right.
I'll spend all of my threat, make this a difficulty 5, complication range 18 to 20.
And how much momentum do we have left?
We have the 3 that you see
have
on the
the 3
screen.
to get, but don't forget the ship is going to help you.
Okay.
And feel free to spend 3 more threat to get a 5th dice.
Let's do 3 more threat.
I'm going to spend all those threat. Your complication range is a 15 to 20.
I'm going to advise him on targeting vectors from my panel, so I'll assist.
So how many dice total do I get with the?
You're gonna roll 5 dice.
5 dice.
5 dice.
You need 5 successes.
I'm gonna use the value a captain is only as good as the crew he leads to spend a determination and make my roll an automatic crit success for
Love
2.
Love it.
So is that daring security?
Yes, to be daring security.
Alright.
Ooh, here we go. I'm excited.
All right, here we go.
Okay, well,
1,
okay.
2, 3. That is so many complications.
Well,
it's 4 complications.
advisor lets you re-roll 1 of those.
Okay.
And the ship,
Let's
and the ship hasn't
go!
rolled.
Oh
hasn't
my
rolled.
god, let's
Okay,
go.
roll for the ship because we
Let's
could still
go.
make it because that's 3.
Let's
So
go.
if we can get 2 more successes, we'll at
Let's
least succeed.
Go. Let's
So
go.
reroll 1 more.
Reroll 1 of those dice because advisor will let you do that.
Okay. I got 1.
Okay, so now we're at 4 successes,
Now the ship.
and now the ship.
Come on, Ragnar.
What's the ship rolling?
It should be,
Should be
weapons.
Weapons. Security. Yeah.
Ship always gets a focus.
Oh,
Oh no!
Zed!
We were so close. So the young.
Oh wait, let me roll
It's too
my challenge dice. No, I get to roll a challenge dice to see if I get my determination back.
Okay.
1. I got an effect, which means I get my determination back.
Mhm.
So now I can immediately regain it. So I spend it to let us re-roll the ship's dice.
All right, I'll allow it. We're bending the rules a little
Love
bit here,
it.
but I like it.
I love it.
Yes.
All right. All right. So you're gonna succeed
We still have 3
I
complications.
mean, there's still 3 complications.
with 3 complications. So you launch. The warp core explodes. You feel the Ragnar being shoved forward towards the event horizon. As it gets shoved towards the event horizon, you guys watch on the view screen from behind the panel. You watch as the Chronos Station is getting absorbed into this black hole, literally torn apart. And as the black hole is getting torn up and up and up and up, and it's being torn apart, you see the Ragnar getting closer and closer to the event horizon. But as it gets closer to the event horizon, you watch as the stars on the other side seem to be moving. They seem to be moving backwards, as though the star charts are reversing themselves in some ways. And you're pushing. The ship is groaning and groaning, and panels are starting to explode. People are starting to fly across the deck, jumping wildly as they do in Star Trek. And as you get closer and closer to the event horizon, the ship's engines are groaning and groaning. And just as you guys get to the precipice, you get to that edge of the event horizon, the engines give out. It's a massive explosion. The ship shudders to the left, the right. The inertial dampers give out. You watch as the ship passes that event horizon, but is in this wild, crazy spin. Everyone is thrown out of their chairs. Everyone, it's spinning so quick. It's like if you've been on one of those rides, you have to kind of black out in one of those G-force chambers. And as everyone's eyes start to kind of fade, you start to see nothing but darkness. As the ship spins and spins and spins, on the view screen, you watch as moving from somewhere in the distance, you see that same Prometheus-class ship getting closer and closer and closer, and everything goes black. That is where we will end part 1 of the hunt for the Shivani Manne. Well done, everyone. Well done.
I just want to tell everyone that Der Wolf told me to throw down that crystal before this this game session. No, I'm joking. I'll play it.
I
apologize, everyone.
First of all, would never. Second of all, things were going so swimmingly until I was like, so I hedged my bets. I said, someone's going to throw down a crystal. I didn't foresee it being Zed, and that made it so beautiful. That made it so beautiful.
That was
Also, Commander Traso, Brian, you just spent 25,000 points for a one shot. What am I going to run for you?
Yeah, I probably put it in the Marvel Multiverse role-playing game.
Do you have the books?
It's only in playtest now.
Okay.
So I will link you the playtest materials.
Marvel Multiverse role-playing game. I will be happy to do it. Just send me the link. We'll talk about a good day that I can do it. I'll look for some other players. And
Jill and I are putting our hats right away in that.
Who is?
So.
If you need another player, let me know. I love Marvel.
Looks like I've got you're muted, Mimi.
Girl said she wanted to as well in the chat.
All right. Well, that sounds like that sounds like a team right there. Charles, Symbol, Brian, and Drill. That sounds like a team of superheroes. And I've never run a superhero game before, so if it's terrible, I apologize in advance. But it'll be fun.
It'll be amazing because it's
you guys did great. So we will be having our season finale of Season 1 of Star Trek Valhalla, Voyages of the USS Ragnar. Things are a little crazy right now. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. I mean, I am, but they're not. And that's really the point. Just got to keep them guessing, right? Got to keep your players guessing. But y'all did a fantastic job. Any final thoughts, questions, comments, or concerns before we wrap up this session and get ready for our season finale next week?
Zed, you were the chosen one.
I know.
You're the chosen one. That's absolutely fantastic. You guys are great. This was a very fun session, an absolute blast. I did not foresee it going the way it did. And Zed, thank you for surprising us as always. It was glorious. Hope everyone had a good time. I know I did, but as I always say at the end of every session, thank you for the viewers for viewing. Thank you for the players for playing. And happy gaming, everybody. We'll catch you next time for the season finale, Session 10, Episode 10 of Star Trek Valhalla next week. Good night, everybody.